Imagine waking up tomorrow to find that the job you trained for, the bank you trust, or the way you buy your groceries simply no longer exists. This isn't the plot of a dystopian novel. It is a statistical reality of the next 24 months. We are currently standing on the precipice of the most aggressive economic shift in human history. By the year 2027, the world will not just look different. It will operate on an entirely new operating system. The comfortable, slow-moving industries that have defined the last 50 years are currently walking toward a cliff edge, pushed by the relentless momentum of artificial intelligence, automation, and decentralized finance. Most people are sleepwalking through this revolution, believing they have decades to adapt. They don't. They have months. Today, New Era peels back the curtain to reveal the 5 massive giants that are about to fall, and more importantly, the sleek, unstoppable forces rising to take their place. Industry 1. The death of the traditional call center and basic customer support. The first casualty of this new era is perhaps the most visible, the massive, sprawling industry of human staff call centers. For decades, companies have spent billions outsourcing customer service to massive warehouses of humans reading from scripts. By 2027, this model will be economically indefensible. We are already seeing the precursors today with sophisticated large language models that can understand nuanced tone and complex queries better than an exhausted human employee. The idea of paying a human to reset a password, track a package, or explain a bank statement will soon seem as archaic as hiring a human to light street lamps. What replaces this industry is not just a chatbot in the traditional, frustrating sense, but hyper-personalized AI agents. These are not static scripts. They are dynamic intelligences capable of instant decision-making. By 2027, customer service will transition from a reactive model, where you call when you have a problem, to a predictive model. AI systems will notice a billing error or a shipping delay before the customer does, and resolve it automatically, sending a simple notification that the issue has been handled. For the millions of workers in this sector, the shift is catastrophic. However, for the economy, it represents a massive unlocking of efficiency. The replacement economy here is the empathy economy, where human interaction is reserved for high-stakes, emotional, or complex negotiation roles that AI cannot yet mimic, effectively turning human service into a luxury product rather than a utility. Industry 2. The collapse of linear television and cable packages. The second industry facing its final act is the traditional cable bundle and linear television. While cord cutting has been a trend for a decade, 2027 marks the point of no return, the total collapse of the advertising model that sustains it. The overhead costs of maintaining broadcast infrastructure, satellite networks, and rigid programming schedules are becoming unsustainable against the agility of digital platforms. The demographic that pays for scheduled television is aging out, and the incoming generation views appointment viewing as a foreign concept. The massive cable conglomerates are currently bleeding cash, desperate to pivot, but their legacy infrastructure is an anchor dragging them down. Replacing this dinosaur is the creator-centric ecosystem and micro-niche streaming. By 2027, the concept of a channel will be entirely redefined. Viewers will not subscribe to networks. They will subscribe to individual personalities and decentralized communities. We are moving toward a model where content is not broadcast to millions, but algorithmically delivered to thousands of hyper-engaged fans. The new TV networks are individual creators using AI tools to produce studio-quality content from their bedrooms. Furthermore, the passive experience of watching TV is being replaced by interactive media. The replacement isn't just Netflix. It's immersive, gamified video experiences where the viewer has agency. The ad dollars are already fleeing linear TV. By 2027, the exodus will be complete, leaving traditional cable as a zombie industry, dead but still walking. Industry 3. The end of entry-level software development. This is perhaps the most controversial yet inevitable prediction on our list. For the last 20 years, learn to code was the golden ticket to the middle class. It was a safe bet. However, the industry of writing boilerplate code is facing an existential threat. The role of the junior developer, someone who spends their day debugging basic scripts, writing HTML/CSS, or translating simple logic into syntax, is rapidly being absorbed by AI. By 2027, the ability to write code will be less valuable than the ability to architect systems. AI co-pilots can already write code faster, cleaner, and with fewer errors than a human junior developer. The economic rationale for hiring an army of entry-level coders to build a website or an app is vanishing. What replaces this is the era of the AI architect and the no-code revolution. The barrier to entry for building software is dropping to zero. In 2027, a person with no knowledge of Python or JavaScript will be able to build complex, enterprise-grade applications simply by describing them to an AI in plain English. The value shifts from knowing the language of computers to knowing the logic of problem-solving. We will see a massive boom in software creation, but a collapse in the job market for those who only know how to follow syntax. The software engineer of the future is not a writer of code, but a conductor of AI orchestras. The grunt work of programming will be dead, replaced by high-level system design and creative oversight. Industry 4. The obsolescence of physical retail banking and cash. The fourth industry heading for the history books is physical retail banking, and by extension, physical cash. Walk into a bank branch today, and you are walking into a museum. The cost of real estate, security, staffing, and vault management is a massive inefficiency that the financial system is eager to shed. By 2027, the local branch will be a rarity, maintained only for high-net-worth relationship management or specific rural needs. The physical act of handling paper money is becoming friction in a frictionless world. Governments and central banks are pushing aggressively towards central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, and the private sector is optimizing for invisible payments. Replacing this brick-and-mortar heavyweights is embedded finance and biometric verification. By 2027, banking will not be a place you go. It will be a background process in everything you do. Your car will possess its own digital wallet to pay for charging or tolls automatically. Your refrigerator will order and pay for groceries. The concept of taking out cash will feel as outdated as winding a watch. The replacement system relies on blockchain for security and biometrics for identity. You won't need a card or a PIN. Your face or your palm will be your authorization. While privacy advocates will fight this transition, the convenience and cost savings for the banks make it inevitable. The bank teller is disappearing, replaced by an algorithm that approves loans in milliseconds based on your digital history. Industry 5. The disruption of long-haul trucking and logistics. The final industry, and the one with the most significant physical footprint, is long-haul trucking. This is the backbone of the global economy, yet it is plagued by labor shortages, safety regulations, and human limitations. A human driver needs to sleep, eat, and take breaks. An autonomous truck does not. While full Level 5 autonomy in complex city environments may still be years away, highway autonomy is here. By 2027, the model of a human driver sitting in a cab for 10 hours a day on an interstate highway will begin to collapse. The economics are simply too powerful to ignore. An autonomous fleet can operate 24/7, reducing shipping times by half and cost by a third. The replacement is autonomous freight corridors and remote fleet management. The job of the trucker will shift from a person turning a wheel to a person sitting in a control center monitoring a fleet of 20 trucks from a screen. This is the pilot-to-air traffic controller shift. The physical driving is outsourced to sensors and LiDAR, while the human element is moved to logistics management and last-mile delivery, which is harder for robots to navigate. This transition will disrupt millions of jobs, but will create a logistics network of terrifying speed and efficiency. The romantic image of the open road is being paved over by the cold efficiency of the algorithm. Navigating the new era. Looking at these 5 dying industries, it is easy to feel a sense of dread. Change is always frightening, especially when it threatens livelihoods and familiar routines. However, the channel name New Era was chosen for a reason. This transition is not the end of opportunity. It is a migration of opportunity. The death of the call center gives birth to the AI prompt engineer. The death of the junior coder gives rise to the creative systems architect. The death of the bank branch leads to the rise of decentralized finance. The winners of 2027 will not be the people who fought to save the past. They will be the people who prepared for the future. The question is not whether these changes will happen. The technology is already deployed, the capital is already committed, and the clock is already ticking. The question is, what will you do about it? Will you remain anchored to a sinking ship, or will you build a raft for the new waters?